Denny Hamlin has officially started 901 races across 22 years in NASCAR's top 3 series. As you might expect, he has run hundreds of different paint schemes in that time span. These schemes range from drop-dead gorgeous all the way to atrocities no person should have to bear witness to. Seeing as it has been months since we had any good news on the 11 car, I want to focus on the good part of his back catalogue. I've taken it upon myself to try and rank the absolute best of that pool. It was an excruciating task to trim this list down to just 11, and there are a ton of amazing paint schemes that just missed the cut. But in keeping with my goal of this video not hitting 3 hours, I've refrained from ranking every single paint scheme in Denny's career, and 11 seems like a good number to stop at. Obviously, this is all strictly my opinion, and you might disagree with literally the entire list, but there's only one way to find out, right? Before I get into that top 11, here are a handful of honourable mentions that just barely missed the cut to make the main list. 2005 FedEx. This was Denny's debut scheme in the Cup Series, which he ran for a handful of races in 2005. This paint job is more commonly associated with Jason Leffler, but Denny did run it after Leffler failed to impress in 05. The split white and purple base with the rotating accent colours for the various FedEx brands made for a gorgeous beginning for what is arguably the greatest driver-sponsor pairing in modern history. 2022 Acumatica. Denny ran this one off at the 2022 Kansas Fall Race, and man do I wish they stayed on for a few more races. I love the two-tone blue on this car with the wave motif on the bottom, and I don't know what the hell Acumatica does as a business, but as a sponsor, they have one killer design here. 2018 FedEx Throwback. The first throwback paint scheme I'll include is this one to Denny's first ever race car, a mini stock he raced in Virginia back in the mid-90s. It is glaringly simple, but while the huge gap of white space after the number might make me hate a different car, this is as true to the original as it could possibly be. And huge props to FedEx for letting the number change and letting the car run with Denny's parent company, Chesterfield Trailer and Hitch, on the door. This was a fitting tribute, and pretty much the only bright spot of Denny's 2018. And finally, 2015 Sport Clips Throwback. I absolutely love this callback to the legendary KL Yarbrough. The clean white base, with the extra pops of black on the roof, along with the red cutting through the number on the door, means this was my first scheme off the main list. And with those mentions out of the way, here comes the top 11. Number 11, 2005 to 2007 Rockwell Automation. This is where it all began. Denny made his name in NASCAR driving this bright red number 20 car in the then Busch Series, and this scheme set an excellent precedent for those that followed. The red base jumps out at you immediately, and I adore the design of the white stripe on the hood. They could have made it go directly from wheel to wheel, but putting it on a diagonal gives the car a bit more flash, which makes it stand out in a crowd. Denny ran this car full time, first in 2005, before pulling double duty in the top 2 series in 2006, and finally he ran it part-time the next year. Arguably, Denny's most iconic memory from this car is the infamous 2007 AT&T 250. Scheduled to run Cup at Sonoma and Busch at Milwaukee, nearly 2,000 miles apart on the same day, Hamlin was delayed when his helicopter couldn't find a spot to land. That meant the 20 car's backup driver, Aric Almirola, who had qualified the car on the pole, would start the race in Hamlin's place. By the time Denny finally got to the track, pace laps were already happening for the start of the race. It looked like the team would keep Almirola in the car, but at the request of Rockwell Automation, that wouldn't turn out to be the case. Unfortunately for Aric, Milwaukee just happened to be Rockwell's global headquarters, and the sponsor wanted their star driver in their car. The 20 would go a lap down during the driver swap, but that couldn't stop Denny. He drove through the field, got the free pass, drove through the field again, and then held off a hungry hometown boy in Scott Wimmer to take the win. Since Almirola started the race, he will be credited with the win in the record books, despite Denny being in the car when it crossed the line. If you want to learn more, I recently saw an awesome video by Ben Schneider which retold the story of this race better than anyone else I've ever seen. In any case, despite Denny not having run these colours for almost 20 years, his Rockwell automation schemes are still instantly identifiable with him and his career. Number 10. 2009 GameStop Super Mario Bros. This is one you almost certainly weren't expecting. GameStop is one of the great sponsors in NASCAR history when it came to bringing creative and inventive paint schemes every week. Whether it was Mortal Kombat or Skate 3, these nationwide series cars stood out every time they ran. My favourite of them just happens to crack Denny's personal top 11. This paint job, commemorating the new Super Mario Bros. Game on the Wii, is just so damn fun. The best part is easily having Mario himself as big as possible on the hood, but making the whole side of the car its own level in the game is such a creative way to bring the scheme together. As with most GameStop cars, this one only ran once. Denny wheeled it to pole position at the Fall Phoenix race in 09, and went on to lead 91 of the first 95 laps. He would stay in contention all day before Brad Keselowski spun him in turn 4. Denny may have finished 12th that day, but he did it in a damn good looking hot rod. Number 9. 2017 Sport Clips Throwback. This scheme is made by one thing, the number. The Flying 11, a throwback to Mr. Modified himself, Ray Hendrick, gave this car a retro feel that nothing else Denny has ever driven has had. The racing stripe down the middle gives the car a perfect accent for some added depth, and as usual, the Sport Clips logo blends in perfectly and doesn't draw away from the general design. Everything serves to highlight that unique number on the door and draw your attention to it. This is many people's absolute favourite Denny scheme, and while it doesn't reach that pinnacle for me, I can't deny that it is well deserving of a spot on this list. It helps that in the only time it ever ran, Denny overcame some really fast cars and making a rookie mistake to clinch his second ever crown jewel in 2017's Southern 500. Thanks to this scheme and the driver inside of it, Ray Hendrick's Flying 11 will forever be immortalized in the history of NASCAR's oldest race. Number 8. 2010 FedEx Primary. This is the first of 5 FedEx Primary schemes in the top 8. No other sponsor even comes close to the affiliation they have with Denny Hamlin's career than them. As of the end of the 2025 season, FedEx has been the primary sponsor on Denny Hamlin's cars for almost 85% of his races. That even includes this past year, which they didn't sponsor a single race in. The fact that almost every single year they came out with a banger paint job only helps FedEx's reputation as one of the best sponsors in the sport's history. You'll note I didn't mention Denny's 2006 primary anywhere earlier, which many revere. Truthfully, I just don't see the hype. They look great and are a fantastic starting point, but are just a little too basic for me. When the schemes got a little extra depth, they really hit an all-time level. It's amazing how much of a difference a simple streak of colour across the side of the car can make. Whether it was FedEx Express, Ground, Freight, or Office, all 4 variants of this scheme looked tremendous. And as a cherry on top, after the cars lost that ridiculous COT wing they ran in 2008 and 9, the spoiler on the deck lid would match the colour of the splitter and the streak to bring all aspects of this scheme together cohesively. This paint scheme looked good 15 years ago when Denny was wheeling it to the best season of his career, and it still looks timeless today. This car is not too simple, but not too complicated either. It fits in that perfect happy medium that puts it in P8 on this list. Number 7. 2011 and 2012 FedEx Primary. After it won 8 races in 2010, JGR made a slight adjustment to the 11 cars set of paint schemes, and it paid off tremendously. It was decided to bring on even more colour to the car, and they did so in a big way. The simple streak of colour along the side was replaced with a design meant to match the speed Denny showed in 2010. The new FedEx Primary would be highlighted by white sparks emanating off the grille, further radiating back into that week's FedEx colours. This new motif meant that whether the car was at Michigan or Martinsville, it looked like it was going light speed. Of course, just like the prior scheme, the spoiler remained color-coded on this car, bringing everything together into a paint job that is deserving of a spot on this ranking. Denny had a good season in 2011, followed up by a 5-win campaign in 2012, where he was just barely in the second tier of competitors and missed out on the chance at the title. He would continue to run almost the exact same scheme in the 2 following years, but this time with, in my opinion, a much worse Camry grille design. That being said, he almost won the championship in 2014, so maybe it was worth it. Now we hit the halfway point of the list. These next 6 paint schemes are in their own tier, and truthfully, from here on out, any of these could have been number 1 on a different day. Number 6, 2025 Progressive. Yes, I'm putting this Progressive scheme above a whole lot of its FedEx predecessors, and that's not a knock against the latter. It's a testament to how much Progressive nailed their primary scheme in 2025. Realistically, literally anything would have been an improvement over their previous foray into sponsoring a cup car. But the paint job they rolled out for 2025 exceeded all expectations. For such a relatively simple scheme, which is 95% the base colour, it is incredible how many little details make this an all-timer. For one, the shade of blue they picked looks absolutely stunning. Also, the huge P on the hood, which slices down through the bumper, looks like a subtle callback to the Rockwell Automation car, and makes this scheme stand out in a crowd. Most importantly, this design wastes zero space on the side. This is a hurdle many next-gen cars have to get around if they want to look their best. The huge Progressive logo on the door extends all the way to the taillights on the quarter panel, and means that not an inch of this car is wasted. In its debut season, Denny and this scheme won 3 times, and almost celebrated on top of it with a championship. Here's hoping this glorious car does even better in 2026. Number 5, 2025 Sport Clips Throwback. Of all the Sport Clip schemes, this one, throwing back to Carl Edwards' number 99 Office Depot car, is my favourite. The red base colour dominates this car, and it does that job amazingly. But the black roof and accents on the pillars make this a sleek looking scheme, easily deserving of a top 5 nod from Denny's back catalogue. You could argue that this car does come with some wasted space on the door, something I literally just said was a cardinal sin of next-gen design. But given this is a throwback car, I'll make an exception, since it just means we get that much more space for the stunning red base coat to shine. I don't think it's a coincidence that my 2 favourite Sport Clips throwbacks are the 2 that Denny took victory in. Thanks to a late race caution and one of the best pit stops of this season, Denny was able to cruise to an overtime victory in the 2025 Spring Darlington race. While he didn't do a backflip off the car like the guy he was throwing back to would have, he got to celebrate in victory lane with the 5th best looking car of his career. Number 4, 2015 and 2016 FedEx Primary. This was the last of the multicolored FedEx schemes, and for my money, it used those different colors better than any of its predecessors. I have always seen this scheme as an homage and improvement over the 2005 FedEx cars, with the white and purple base now being all black, and more emphasis put onto the secondary colors. Most importantly to me though, gone was the rough, torn appearance of the color transition. That change took a great paint scheme and made it an all-timer. The accent colors on the splitter and spoiler work better on this car than on any other through Denny's career. The purple, which wraps all the way around the doors, quarter panels and deck lid, along with the way the FedEx logo is underlined by the accent line, makes this a cohesive scheme which, to me, is by far the best of the black base 11 schemes. This is the car in which Denny won his first Daytona 500, thanks to what remains to be one of the greatest single laps by a driver in NASCAR history. That lap culminated with what to this day remains the closest finish in the 67-year history of NASCAR's richest race. This spectacular paint job deserves nothing less. Number 3. 2019 to 2021 FedEx Primary. This was the start of the white-based FedEx schemes, and from the onset, they looked amazing. Technically, this scheme did first start to be run in 2019, but since the Cup Series was still sponsored by Monster Energy, in the playoffs, those cars had to carry that disgusting lime green banner on them. That isn't the scheme's fault, but that's why there's an asterisk next to it. Come 2020 though, that Monster sponsorship was gone, and we got to witness this masterpiece of a car in its full unbridled glory. This car is just so damn clean, and such an improvement over the atrocious 2017 and 18 predecessor. Gone were the jagged peaks and sparks, and in came the smooth flowing lines that gave the car just enough depth to stand out. The white base highlights the classic FedEx purple and orange effortlessly, and makes the number and logo pop no matter the environment. And speaking of the number, it naturally had to be changed from white, and the purple 11, outlined in orange, meant that this car was in serious running to be in the top spot. Purely looking at the results, this is the most successful primary ever to go onto one of Denny's cars. He made the championship 4 in all 3 years that it ran, won 15 races, including 2 Daytona 500s, had the 3 best average finishes of his career, and came a piece of tape and a brake rotor away from winning 2 championships. I'm not sure how much of that was because of the paint job, but I think it contributed at least a little bit. Number 2. 2022 and 2023 Coca-Cola. Despite being one of Denny's most prolific sponsors, Coca-Cola had only ever been a primary on his car once before, way back in 2008 in a nationwide series Daytona one-off. 14 years later, they came back in a big way. Denny ran this beauty in the summer of 2022 and 23 at Coke's historic home, Atlanta. As I've mentioned, I think the next gen has such high potential to look amazing when the cars use all of the door space from the pushed forward number. The Coca-Cola logos on the door and hood are just oversized enough to where they fit that space perfectly, and the classic Coke swooshes on the side add in just the right amount of a break from an all-red car. The cherry on top for this scheme is that chrome door number that it rocked in 2023. Denny actually ran this car with a flat white 11 in its first outing, and while that paint job still looked incredible, nothing can beat the chrome number that car had in 2023. Unfortunately, thanks to Alex Bowman that year, and the ever-helpful Ross Chastain in 2022, this beauty never had an opportunity to compete for a win at the home of Coke. No matter its performance in the races though, everything on this car just pairs so nicely. The classic colours, bold branding, and gorgeous number make this my pick for the second best scheme Denny Hamlin has ever run. Number 1. 2022 and 2023 FedEx Primary. This is the Holy Grail. The FedEx schemes from the first 2 years of the next gen took everything that its predecessors did and somehow managed to improve them. Remember how I waxed poetic about the stunning 2019 to 21 FedEx car? Well, imagine taking that and making it even better. The base remained white, but flipping the colours of the hood and roof to be that classic purple made this car pop like nothing else. The use of space on the door is unmatched here. An enormous FedEx logo complements the purple and orange 11 spectacularly. Nothing is wasted on this car, and nothing is overdone. This scheme even has the power to make me not just tolerate, but genuinely love a gradient on a race car. Ordinarily, I cannot stand them, but here, the matching gradients on the grille, bottom of the door, and the C-pillar complement the design absolutely perfectly. This scheme had such tremendous ups and downs in its 2 years. Some have even said that Denny's 2022 was the unluckiest season in NASCAR history. But he did take home his first and only Coca-Cola 600 that year. And 2023 had 3 huge wins, but at the same time some heartbreaking losses. This yin and yang is pretty much on brand for Denny, so it makes sense that his best ever paint scheme delivered just that. Remember when I said that any of the top 6 on this list could have been number 1 on a different day? Well, that wasn't entirely true. The battle was always from 6th to 2nd. From the moment I started thinking about this ranking, I knew that there was only one paint job which could ever end up in the top spot. For me, the FedEx Primary from 2022 and 2023 is far and away the best paint scheme that Denny Hamlin has ever driven. Tell me what you think about my list in the comments. This was so hard to rank, and I had another 10 or so cars on my not so short list, so I'd love to hear what you think are the best schemes Denny has ever raced. Thanks for watching.